Denver.
I love it. So I think people think that I basically never like trading picks for players, but it's not the.
Yeah, I was surprised you said you love it.
So I try to evaluate everything given the team's circumstance and what their timelines are. So Chiefs, Rams, Trent McDuffie trade. I loved that for both teams because I feel like they are not on different timelines. They're both trying to compete this year, but the Rams have a very short timeline and the Chiefs have a longer one. I wouldn't have liked Max Crosby to the Ravens. I would have thought that would have been too aggressive when you have a Lamar Jackson who should be excellent, you would hope, for at least the next 3, if not 5 years. If you're Denver and your free agency approach was keep everyone, add no one, which is what they did. They were the only team that had not added a single outside free agent, and I guess still hadn't because this isn't a free agent. And you have a quarterback you believe in, whether we think that's smart or not. Sean Payton clearly believes in him, and he's had a very good first 2 years. And he's not making any money, and you were the #1 seed, and you needed a difference maker at skill position. I felt running back, tight end, or receiver. They needed some type of threat. Adding a 27-year-old on a good contract who has been healthy in his career. I think he has 6 career games missed for basically the 30th pick and a third because you're swapping fourths. That makes sense to me. That is not over-aggressive, and it makes even more sense, Brew, when I think he's better than any of the free agent receivers, and they all cost more money. Now, you wouldn't have had to give up the first-round pick, but the 30th pick is not the same as giving up the 13th pick or a great first-round pick. So I think this is very smart for Denver. I applaud this move. I think this is a move of a well-run team.
I love it, too. I think I think Jalen Waddle is clearly a #1 receiver. He wasn't as good as Tyreek Hill. Okay. Hill's a Hall of Famer, but he is a #1 receiver. I think that moves Cortland Sutton, who ironically has made 2 Pro Bowls. Waddle hasn't made any, but it moves Sutton to a #2. I think he's a very nice #2. Waddle, deep threat, can get you yards after the catch. He makes Bo Nix better. You're right. Nix hasn't really had a true playmaker at any position. And I think he makes their run game better, And so last year was middle of the pack. I think with real threats outside, the run game will get better. Nick, I think right now, with the Chargers and the health, we're assuming they get their 2 tackles back. Mike McDaniel make a difference. And then what Denver's done with just this move, I think right now the Chiefs are a definitive third in that division right now. Now, we'll see how the draft goes for them and all, Mahomes getting back and stuff. But right now, those two, Denver obviously had a great year. Their defense, even if it's not quite as good, is probably going to be strong.
Oh, yeah.
And then now the offense, which really was your problem, and you bring in a Jalen Waddle, I think this is big for the Broncos.
So, yes, it is. Nick Wright admitting that he loves it, that this is a move of a smart franchise. I like how they still kind of are they believe in Boone Nix, but, we'll just put that aside. Yeah, man. This is what I said when this news first broke and I made my video and I was just waiting for first things first. I was this is an undeniably great move. No matter how you slice it, it's worth the draft pick. The amount of money that you're paying the timelines, you guys know I'm always talking about timelines. And it's just everything is matched perfectly. Everything is matched perfectly. There's absolutely positively nothing to not love about this. Which is why I was I got to see what first experts say because how are you going to try to twist and you can't you literally can't. You literally can't twist it in a way where to be I don't know if I like this. I could see this biting them, etc., etc. He couldn't do it. Could not do it. It had to absolutely positively concede. The last time I really saw the concession was when the Eagles absolutely destroyed the Kansas City Chiefs, and it was just like, what do you have to say? And there was no other way to explain it. You couldn't be like, well, if it wasn't but it was just no, the Chiefs weren't good enough. Patrick Mahomes wasn't good enough. Jalen Hurts was great. There was no other way to twist it. It was just like, and that's what this felt like right here. It was like, yeah, this is the move of a well-run franchise, and it's just like, yeah, because the Denver Broncos are a well-run franchise, especially with Sean Payton, pulling a lot of the levers. So, a lot of people can criticize Sean Payton and some of his, the fact that he's gotten older and some of his, some of his play calling and whatnot, but he is the biggest reason why this team is being run the way it is now. He is the one who got rid of Russell Wilson. He is the one who wanted to go and get Bo Nix. He is the one that was like, let's go all in on defense in free agency last season, he's the one that is pulling a lot of these strings, man. A lot of these strings. And so he deserves tremendous credit for what they've been able to do here without a shadow of a doubt. And so yeah, I agree with what Bruce is saying. This team is legit. This team is so obviously legit. Some would say too legit to quit, but no. So much of this now there's so many different directions to go into this. If Boykes, okay, so you guys know how I'm super high on Bo Nix. I'm a big believer in them. You guys know that I got an obnoxious amount of videos discussing Bo Nix. I still even have this saved at the very top. Still can't remove it from here yet. Still got it saved, right? That man right there. That man right there. I like to look the way how I like to sometimes have these conversations is, not only what is the potential, what are the expectations, but what are the different ways that a quarterback can kind of find themselves in terms of loose rankings, very loose rankings, right? And then don't get too lost in it. And don't get too lost in the names and the examples, but you obviously have the Mahomeses of the world, right? And then you can have I'd say I'm trying to be as realistic and strategic as I possibly can here. Whatever would be a notch above a Kirk Cousins. Maybe like a Dak. I don't know. A Kirk, because Kirk Cousins is unique because he hasn't had the most consistent situation in terms of team. But you have a Kirk Cousins Dak, whether you want to put them on equal or maybe Dak slightly above. Again, it's hard to say. They're different style quarterbacks. And then you have the notch below that and you're looking at maybe the Tuas. Again, some of these other examples that I can use, they've had such specific career. Phillip Rivers, let's say you have the Patrick Mahomeses, then you have the Phillip Rivers. Let's not get to the reason why I'm kind of stumbling over this is because I understand the importance of roster and coaching and all of that. And so it's I actually do believe that if Kirk Cousins was 28 and was with Sean McVay, his career would look a lot differently. That's kind of why I'm getting tripped up on that. But if we just cast that aside and don't think about that and we just look at what those quarterbacks were able to do and just the quality of play that they were able to put forward regardless of who their coach was, regardless of how good their roster was, their O-line, etc., etc. Just the general perception of those quarterbacks. Right. So again, Mahomes at the highest level. Then you have the Matt Ryan, a Phillip Rivers, Dak, and again, they're not all equal, but just that this general sense of these quarterbacks are really good. These quarterbacks who could even win a Super Bowl. Matt Ryan MVP in the Super Bowl, had a big lead, all that good stuff. So, it's it's all on the table. And then again, you got some of maybe the lower level quarterbacks, the ones who are just, struggling to truly bring a level of consistency. Whether you want to put Baker Mayfield in that category, maybe even a Brock Purdy into that category, which I would personally elevate. I'm just trying to go with the general perception here. The Sam Darnold think of just more of before Sam Darnold won the actual Super Bowl, how everybody felt about Sam Darnold, just not even before Minnesota but just Minnesota and Seattle, that general sense of he's a really good quarterback but I don't know how great he can be or something, right? Obviously winning the Super Bowl started to change that a little bit. I'm trying to think of other decent examples, but the reason why I'm going through this whole process is that Bo Nix doesn't even really need to be spectacular. He doesn't even need to reach this incredibly high ceiling. He can be ultimately the generic version of a Kirk Cousins. He can be the generic version of even a Baker. And the way how this team can be constructed, the way how just this coming season alone, it's like they should be a bona fide top contender as long as Bo Nix is not consistently hurting them. He's allowed to hurt them through various phases because that's what quarterbacks do, no matter who you are, even if you're a Patrick Mahomes. But again, there's obviously going to be different rates of that happening depending on how great of a quarterback you are. But as long as he's not just consistently a liability and he's just a generic Kirk Cousins, this is still an elite top dangerous team. And we saw that with Kevin O'Connell and Kirk Cousins. Why Kirk Cousins is actually a really decent example of this. And again, unfortunately, he got in when the Vikings were ready to pop with Kirk Cousins, he then got injured. He blew out his Achilles. And again, also at that point, Kirk Cousins was already just an older quarterback. He was already on the wrong side of 30. So, that was just, unfortunate timing for him. But they had stretches, they had runs with Kirk Cousins and Kevin O'Connell, Justin Jefferson, etc. that was incredibly high level that had an offense that people would have felt was even more threatening if they had stronger sense of Kirk Cousins' quality as well as Kevin O'Connell, because again at this point Kevin O'Connell is a brand new coach. Justin Jefferson's up and coming and they still that roster wasn't perfectly as constructed as it is, but Alex Smith is probably another great example. Kansas City Chiefs with Alex Smith. They're having tremendous amount of success. And then Alex Smith never got to have a full season, especially not in the playoffs. Never got to have a full playoff game with Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce in their prime. That never happened. The one game that they had, they were winning. Then either Travis Kelce or I think it was Travis Kelce got concussed and then was out for the whole second half. And then that was when they lost a big lead. And so it's just even if you have an Alex Smith level quarterback out of Bo Nix, who again to be obviously you guys know I think is better than that. This team is still insanely threatening. Insanely threatening. And I fully believe that with a prime Alex Smith, with an actual prime Tyreek Hill, prime Travis Kelce, prime Andy Reid, that is a good enough team and a good enough quarterback to get the AFC Championship games and even a Super Bowl. I'm not saying that you're winning as many Super Bowls as Patrick Mahomes here, but you are in the heart of it. You are legitimately in the heart of it year after year after year. Now, if Boyks just proves to be well, I'm better than Alex Smith. I'm better than Kirk. I can do more. Not only can I just do more just in the general sense, but then I also elevate in a way that those quarterbacks simply do not do, which we've seen Bo Nix now do in multiple playoff games, whether you realize it or not. He did it in his first ever playoff game as well. That adds now a whole another layer. That adds a whole another layer. Listen, I believe Drake May is awesome. I believe Drake May is elite. I really do. And I believe Drake May is going to have an unbelievable career. And I think it's going to be Drake and Bo and Caleb, Jaden, all of that. I cannot wait for that for them, for all of those quarterbacks to enter their prime. And they're the new Josh Allen, Lamar, Mahomes, etc. And I think it's going to be great. I'm incredibly excited for it. But Drake May did not elevate in the playoffs like we've seen Bo Nix do. Jaden Daniels, do Jalen Hurt like many other quarterbacks. And so it's when you look at this ability to legitimately elevate, and I also mean now full quality of play, because Caleb Williams had some moments where he elevated, but if you look at how he played, because we get lost in some of these singular throws, and again the one throw obviously against Los Angeles Rams was absolutely insane. He also had a couple insane moments against the Packers in the playoffs, and like, that is elevation, that is crucial, that is important, no doubt. But if you look at how, say, like Caleb played start to finish, you would say that those singular plays did a tremendous amount of the heavy lifting of why you'd say he played good in that playoff game. It did a tremendous amount of heavy lifting. Whereas Bo Nix in his playoff games so far, in any of his actual just big games, whether it was multiple games against the Kansas City Chiefs, whether it be rookie year or his second year, the first game against the Chiefs, against Mahomes, like, you would say that his quality of play start to finish was elevated. So, it wasn't necessarily these isolated individual moments when you were just like, oh my God, did you see that play? You would say that the overall quality has been elevated, which is way more important to me. It's way more reliable. You're not relying on just like a couple of these singular moments going your way. You're just looking at the quality of play. I mean, you get that quality of play out of Bo Nix. Again, this team is going to be genuinely an elite top team. Like last season they were a top team, obviously number 1 seed, and even though they played great in the play-in, specifically against the Buffalo Bills, and had a couple of these games you didn't feel that this team was juggernauts, too strong of a word, but you didn't feel you couldn't have the same level of confidence in maybe the Denver Broncos as maybe you would feel about even a team like the Los Angeles Rams. I felt way more confident about what Matthew Stafford, Puka, Nakwa, Sean McVay, Devontae, Blake, Kyren, like I just had way more confidence that they were going to be able to show up week after week in the playoffs. I had way more confidence in that. Not necessarily saying that they were better than the Denver Broncos, but my confidence factor would have been through the roof. When you start to make moves like this, and if Bo Nix again just is a generic Kirk Cousins, let alone the elevation, you now can have a level of confidence in this Denver Broncos team where you're just kind of feeling like as long as you're healthy, man, you're getting after it. As long as this team's healthy, this team is going to be absolutely brutal. I mean, again, continue to take this farther. Think about a team like the Baltimore Ravens, a team that's great over the years. Let's just use like 23 or 22-24 as reference points. You were like, hey, this team is great, but I don't have confidence in them. And that's why I always reference that Tom Brady quote in 24 when he goes, the Ravens are a sleeping giant. And my whole thing was like, well, why are they sleeping then though? You got all the pieces. You got Derrick Henry. You got Lamar. You couldn't have the confidence in them. And they proved why you shouldn't against the Buffalo Bills. They proved that. And they proved that in 23 against the Kansas City Chiefs. You now start to take care of that issue. You start to know how have genuinely an elite great team and the confidence to go along with it And so it's just like I think a move like this starts to solidify that. And it solidifies it on both sides of that argument of not only is this a great team, not only is this an elite team, but I also have the confidence to go along with it. And I promise you that a confidence factor that matters too. The players feel it too. If you're a fan sitting at home watching a team and you're like, man, I just don't feel confident that this team is going to be able to beat this other team. I promise you there's a lot of those guys, especially the mature ones, not the delusional ones. Like they will have that sense too. They'll be like, yeah, I hope we can put it all together, right? I hope let's say you have an inconsistent quarterback. Like, yeah, you'll as a player, you'll believe that you can beat the Rams or something, but you don't have the same level of confidence. And you can tell yourself, oh, we're confident we can beat them. And you do. You do have that type of confidence, but that's little c confidence, not big C confidence where it's just like, no, I know we can get after it. There's a different level of confidence of the Los Angeles Rams going into a game than the Carolina Panthers going into a game, even though the Carolina Panthers beat the Los Angeles Rams before. So, they know they can beat them and they have the confidence that they can do it, but they also know deep down, it's a little bit of a roll of the dice here. Whereas the Rams are like, no, we better win this game because we are legit. Yeah, we know we can technically lose because we lost, but we know we are the better team. So, when you make moves like this, you're not only just making your team better, but you are also building in an embedded level of confidence that really truly does matter. It really does matter in a way that I think is largely underrated when we talk about things like confidence and belief, and does this team believe they can win versus can they not. And again, I think a lot of times in media that stuff can kind of get twisted and it can kind of get glorified in the wrong direction, or people be like, as long as we got Mahomes we believe, and it's just like, and that's what he does, he instills belief in everyone, and it's like yeah, I get it, but like also you guys you're exaggerating this to the nth degree here. And so it's why it's like when you talk about things like confidence and belief and in culture, like you do kind of have to be a little bit grounded how you talk about it. But I just think this checks the boxes in a way that puts you in a position to have become greater than the sum of your parts. Kind of, when you have like, oh, this is addition by subtraction. A move like this. This is not addition. This is multiplication. That is honestly the best way to phrase it. And it took me 21 minutes to get there. This is not addition. This is multiplication. That is the bar. This is multiplication, not addition. That's what it is. I'll say it one more time. This isn't addition. This is multiplication. You guys tell me what sounds better. This is multiplication, not addition. Or this isn't addition. This is multiplication. That's what it is. Took me 21 minutes to get there, but we got there. Those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Denver Broncos? Nick Wright admitting that he loves this move. Let me know your thoughts. I read every single comment, whether you agree with me or disagree with me. Either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights, but ultimately let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here and absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Really does help visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much.